You wrote a very interesting piece for The Guardian that was published in August about yourself as a freshman at Barnard, where you approached a famous male writer who was 65 and taught there for advice about being a writer and to read your stuff because his writing represented everything you held as sacred in that moment about writing. And you found out the easiest way to get his attention was to flirt a bit. And because you're a 17-year-old girl, it activates something in him that you don't necessarily discourage. You describe yourself as a kid, but not naive, and you think that you could use his waning vitality to your advantage, and you realize that for him to stay interested, you had to lead him on a bit and flirt. But you are 17, and it isn't until you're 18 that he becomes more overt with wanting to have sex with you. Nothing happens. There's one kiss where you don't feel anything, and he just wants to go down on you, basically, and he becomes, as men do, annoyed. And then you'd have arguments about why you weren't going to have sex. It just didn't turn you on. And then it was obvious that it was over. You got what you wanted and you left. And you said, I wanted to tell a story in which I wasn't a victim. I was an active, empowered participant trying to get something. This is not my sob story. It's rather an example of how sex and power dynamics don't always lead to a victim experience. What was the overall reaction to this piece? I loved it, but did anybody give you any shit about it? Was it considered controversial? It was published in England in The Guardian, but did you get any negative reaction from that, or was it mostly positive?
Well, I initially wrote that for Vogue, which might be interesting because the editor who I really liked working with ultimately was like, I can't really show this to Anna.
Whoa.
And so it was not really, and I took it, okay, it's not fit to be published here in this political climate. I'm sure somebody else would have published it, but then Granta, it was actually Granta who published it in England, and then The Guardian reprinted it. Then they just happened to send out an email being like, do you have an essay on this kind of topic? Because I was like, oh good, just have this one,
Right.
People, because I'm not on social media, I don't really have, there's no avenue for people to come and yell at me. And it's very hard to say rude things to my face. I don't know. I think I present as a pretty sensitive, reasonable person. And I don't think people are just going to come up to me and tell me that how nasty I am or how wrong. I actually got a lot of, when I was in England, there were a lot of people who came to my reading in London who had read the piece and really wanted to talk about quote unquote feminist politics. And I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
But no, there was no major backlash that was visible to me.